From the national newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Brenda Molina-Navidad. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre has demanded the federal government present a plan before Parliament to beef up border security as U.S. President-elect Donald Trump threatens to impose 25% tariffs on Canadian imports. Poilievre says the plan should include measures that will crack down on illegal drug trafficking as well as tightening visa rules.
The reality is that Trudeau has lost control of the deficit of immigration and of our border. In less than 2 months, President Trump will come into office. He has threatened the possibility of imposing tariffs unless there is action to address Trudeau's broken border.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau had dinner with Trump at his Mar-a-Lago estate last week. Sources say the two discussed wide-ranging topics, including trade, border security, and NATO. Canada Post has presented the union representing some 55,000 striking postal workers with a framework to reach negotiated agreements. Officials with the Crown Corporation say they hope the proposals will reignite discussions after previous talks failed to produce a deal. Negotiations on a treaty to end plastic pollution have concluded in South Korea without reaching an agreement. Negotiator Sam Adukumi of Ghana says he would prefer not to have a treaty if it means accepting a bad deal.
We are here for a legally binding future instrument to end plastic pollution. So if we are here and we are getting a treaty that does not address the issues head on, then where are we heading towards?
Environment Minister Stephen Guilbeault says he's disappointed but remains hopeful a deal can be struck as negotiators plan to meet again next year. Canada's big banks are heading into fourth quarter earnings this week, mostly riding high.
Bank stocks have generally climbed since the previous quarter, with the exception of TD, which was handed a variety of penalties for deficiencies in its anti-money laundering program. Scotiabank analyst Manny Grauman says overall, investors are looking past the still worsening credit fundamentals and sluggish loan growth to the turnaround ahead. As well, consumer borrowing is expected to pick up next year as interest rates fall further and concerns around mortgage renewals ease. Michelle Zedekian, The Canadian Press, Toronto.
Also this week, Statistics Canada will release its snapshot of the job market from November. The economy created 15,000 jobs back in October as the unemployment rate held steady at 6.5%. The latest report will come ahead of the next Bank of Canada interest rate decision in about a week and a half. The central bank's current policy rate sits at 3.75%. And as the busy holiday shopping season is underway, Dollarama will soon report its third quarter results. In entertainment, 5 days until Taylor Swift performs her first of 3 shows in Vancouver as she gets ready to wrap up her Eras tour in Canada. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, the early NHL matinee is complete. The Vancouver Canucks edged the Detroit Red Wings 5-4. Winnipeg is at Dallas, and later this evening, Ottawa visits Anaheim. Winnipeg netminder Connor Hellebuck is the NHL's third star of the month. There's one game on tap in the Professional Women's Hockey League today as Minnesota welcomes New York. Last night, Marie-Philippe Poulin scored the shootout winner for the Montreal Victoire in a 4-3 win over the Ottawa Charge to open the season. After the captain missed a chance earlier in the shootout and a breakaway in the dying seconds in overtime, she said it felt good to come through.
I think when you go for your third time, you don't want to let your team down, honestly, and yes, it did feel good to score that one.
She's also the captain of Canada's team. The Toronto Raptors and Miami Heat will complete the back end of a home-and-home set tonight at Scotiabank. From the Canadian Press, I'm Brenda Molina-Navidad.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.